Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Legendary Fountain Titan, and today, oh, do I have a video for you. So, we're going to be doing another tier list. Now, this is this is definitely a little bit different. So, we've talked about, like, what I believe is, um, the best units in the game. Like, we talk about the worst, the best, and so on and so forth. Um, But this tier list is a little different. This tier list is going to be trying to find a new meta to actually, for a new meta to actually be viable. Um, is it actually possible? I have no idea. So, yeah. Now, of course, the new meta is, I mean, it's more than likely not going to be better than the actual meta, which that's what I want to talk about. So, yeah, this could be a one hell of a video. So this is what I would consider the actual meta. Now, a lot of these units were in A tier in the last video, but that's because the meta was fighting each other, like specifically like with the Hawk and shit. The Hawk was fighting the Vampire and the Banshee, and I gave my reasons why I think it belonged in A tier by comparison. But realistically speaking, this is what I would consider to be the real meta. Hunters are up here as well because the very first thing that you think of if you're fighting tanks as Covenant, the very first unit you think of is building Hunters or Banshees. Um, and that's what people usually do. They either build Hunters or Banshees to counter, tanks. The Engineer was knocked off of here because it's more of a niche, like it's more situational when talking about like an actual meta like this, because like you don't really need the Engineer to win a game. Like I do think it is belonging in S tier realistically, but if you want to see that tier list where I talk about every unit, um, from S, A, and instead of the tier list I'm doing now, where I'm trying to figure out what can counter the meta, you can actually go see what I believe each unit belongs in. There's another tier list for that in the description. But for this one, for this tier list, we're trying to figure out if it's even possible to have a decent meta counter. If you're a player just wanting to try to build something other than this meta, this is kind of what this video is for. But I'm not gonna promise it's gonna be great for you. Let me tell you, because the very first issue I ran into is this. Uh, so the meta, as you can clearly see, most of the air forces are here, apart from like the Hornet and Vulture, which are a literal ass, and the Wolverine and Vampire are also up here, which means the very best counters to air are already taken by the meta. Hunters are here because, like I said, they're just the first thing you think of when, fighting tanks as Covenant. So, yeah, we've already have quite the issue. Um, Now, I want to talk about something real quick, and that is what actually makes these units so good. Like, why are they the meta? The reason why these units specifically are part of the meta is because most of them are they're just very good in specific traits. Um, or they're just really well rounded. Like, very well rounded for their price range, I'd say. So, like a Banshee, for instance, is 200. And it's not that expensive. They're great. They're the best scouts in the game because they can just zoom across the fucking map like instantly. Um, they can sacrifice into things, causing even more damage even after they die. And there's not too many counters to face them. Like the Hawks are really its only counter. Like Hawks and Vampires are its only counters. But Hawks are actually just too slow to keep up with them unless, you put a cryo bomb on them or the Banshee's boosting thing is on a cooldown. The Hawks are just too slow to actually keep up with them. So realistically, like, they're really good for hit and run tactics. The Banshees are really good for that. Um, the Vampires do a little bit better job at actually countering Banshees because they can, lock them down. But still, Banshees really don't have too many strong counters to them because of their speed of load. Hawks are a great unit, part of the meta because Anders has the cryo bomb, and with that being said, she also has the Hawk, which does a lot of damage and is very fast as well. The Vampire is just the king of air. It literally counters everything in the air like no problem. As it is like the second tankiest. I'm pretty sure it's the second tankiest air unit because of its vamping ability, because it can steal health, and it just does a lot of damage. It can stasis even leaders like the Prophet. The Wolverine's part of the meta because obviously you're gonna want to build them to counter these air units, and then the ODST is up here for locking down. They're great infantry. Like, they're easily the best infantry in the game, without a question. And then Warthogs are great for resource gathering in the beginning, great for scouting. The best UNSC scout for sure. And then, they also have decent firepower and are only one pop and are very cheap. Um, and they do a lot for what they cost. Scorpions are obviously going to be up here because they are of the definition of jack of all trades. They literally have decent speed, they got good health, they got good firepower, just everything. Everything about the Scorpion is really good. Even though it's like the most expensive up here, it definitely makes up for its cost because it's just so fucking good. And same as the hunters up here because I already explained why they're up here. Now, we gotta find a team to actually counter all of this. Now, like I said, air is gonna be a huge problem because all of our anti-air shit is here. So we gotta find shit to. We're trying to build a force outside of the meta to counter the meta. Now, of course, the tiers are A plus meta counter. These are the absolute best units to actually counter the meta. Just regular A beta meta counter. Maybe these units are like built to support the A plus meta counter. That's really about it. B is situational. Just it might do something against like specific, like for instance, that's probably where this guy's gonna go. I would imagine Jackal, as Jackal can only really counter two of these guys, so or realistically only do damage to two of these guys, so it's probably just like a situational pick right there. Extremely situational. That's kind of how it sounds. D tier has maybe one use, and F is just fucking hopeless and sucks ass. So now the leaders are disqualified because they don't cost anything. Like you're always gonna build them no matter what. They don't cost anything for your army, so just fucking build them. Like, you're always gonna want to build them, obviously. And Spartans, while Spartans are, you could say that the Spartans are probably the best in these type of vehicles up here, but I mean, there's some vehicles down here that they're really good in too. So there's not, there's no point really putting them against each other because they can easily work against the meta or with the meta. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference because everyone's gonna have these guys anyway. So fuck it. They're disqualified because of that. Because they're not really an army unit, they're just leaders. So we're looking for units that can actually stand up to the meta to see if it's even possible to even come close to dethroning them, right? So let's see how this fucking goes. Now, obviously, my thoughts on the Vulture. It's fucking hopeless. There's nothing it can do. Vampire, dead. Wolverine, dead. Fucking Warthogs, dead. ODSTs, dead. Hawks, dead. I mean, literally the meta, everything in the meta besides the hunters can kill a vulture, no problem. Like, actually, no problem at all. Like, each one of these guys can destroy a vulture with very little effort, apart from the hunter. Like, that's the only thing it could fight. And and even then, it still would take a while to kill a hunter. That's what's sad about it. It would still take a while to kill it. So yeah, that thing is just absolutely fucking hopeless. Honestly, same thing can be said for the Hornet because of the 3 air units here. They just would completely dogpile the Hornet, and there's just nothing it could do. And the Wolverine, of course, being on top of that, would also destroy it. The ODSTs will destroy it. The Warthog will destroy it. The only thing it can fight is the Scorpion, and I guess because of that, it could have one use. I guess because of that, it could have one use for the Scorpion and the Hunters. It could, do something, I guess. Ghost, absolutely hopeless. Like, there's nothing it could do. Like, any air units can destroy it. Maybe it can fight. No, I can't fight vampires. I think they have too much health, even for a ghost to do much against. Wolverines would skullfuck them. ODSTs would absolutely skullfuck them. Warthogs, same diff. Hunters and Scorpions would just absolutely shred them like butter. Like, yeah, like, they ain't doing nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. Cyclops. I'll actually save Cyclops for later because I really don't know where I want to put him. I'll think about it. Grizzly. Um, I I, I feel like the Grizzly. It can definitely do a lot against a lot of those guys up there, like the Hunter, the Warthog, the Wolverine, the ODSTs, and even like vampires. It wouldn't really be bothered by it. I mean, it could literally get shot by an army of vamps, and it just wouldn't do anything. um, I'll put it in. I'll put it in A, just regular A beta meta counter. I really I need to see the list a little bit more clearly once I get everything up there and see if I need to move shit up or down because I really don't know what the best is gonna be to fight these guys in the meta picks. Um, Engineer. I feel like you'd almost need the engineer to help out with the front lines to fight these guys, just because every single one of these guys are just really strong. I don't know. I might even need to put it in here, situational, because of Wolverines and Vamps, but I'm just gonna leave it there for now and then see, if I can come up with something once we do put everything up there. This is a list where I'm gonna have to really move shit around even when I get everything up there. Jackal. I just say situational, like I said earlier. It can counter the hunters. It can counter the ODSTs. It's really like the second best unit against ODSTs. I think the first best is for sure the Grizzlies, as they have so much health. ODSTs really aren't going to do much to them. And considering that the rock, paper, scissors system, works against the ODSTs, yeah, I think the Grizzly would have no problem. Brutes. So the Brute Squadrons, I can see it being an A meta counter. I think it would definitely be like one of the best things we have so far to fight air. As Brutes surprisingly are pretty good against air, it's just I think we're gonna need something a little better. But in the rock paper scissors system, which is what we're gonna have to use to really fight these guys, They're probably the best choice we have so far, which is scary to think about. Wraith. Um, jeez. Uh, I mean, it certainly can make its uses. It's basically the same difference as the Grizzly. I'll put it in A tier for now. And beta meta counter, I'll put it in there. Because it can fight the hunters, it can fight the ODSTs. Specifically with its Y ability, it can really shred these hunters. And I think the race Y ability is the best at killing infantry because it does damage over time and a lot of it. So yeah, I think they're pretty good right there for now. Anyway, Marines. Not really anything from the fight. Not really. I guess against the meta. I guess air, like, I guess for air, they'd probably be an A tier just because of the rock paper scissors system. As we gotta use something for the UNSC to fight the Air Force. This is really bad so far. God, this is really bad. Gremlin. I feel like Gremlin would have to go here, and A as well, and beta meta counter. I think it'd have to go there to actually fully counter like Wolverines and Squirps. I feel Flamethrower, probably like one of the best for fighting infantry as well, but they're just worse than the Grizzly and Jack at killing infantry. So I put them in extremely situational. I think they're not really good at, actually, compared to the comparison to the meta, I would even go to say has maybe one use. Like, honestly, because I think, like, well, no, because not everyone can build Grizzlies. So I guess there's that. So it's extremely situational though, for sure. Yeah, this is looking real rough. Let me tell you. The Grunt Squad with the Brute in it. I'll leave him an A. Pretty much the best thing we can possibly. The air is the main issue right now. That's the main issue. We just don't have many weapons against it, honestly. The Elephant. I feel like Elephant would probably go in situational. Although compared to the list up here, compared to the list up there, considering they're all really fast apart from the ODST and Hunter, the tanks would absolutely rock the Elephant's shit up. I feel like it'd be extremely situational. I feel like the only way you're gonna really use that against the meta is if you're using it behind a wall and you just keep reinforcing the wall with more troops. That's really the only thing I can think of. Elite Honor Guard? Well, it can't hit anything in the air. It doesn't have much damage against ground vehicles. The only thing it can really realistically fight is the Hunter, the ODST, and the Warthog, and even then it's like, not good. Not good at all. I'm gonna say it even has one use, to be honest. Like, I don't know. It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good for these guys at all to counter the meta. The Locust. I feel like the Locust would probably fit. It's definitely not A. I mean, the only thing I can fight is the. Actually, I'd say Hopeless. There ain't nothing he can do. There's literally nothing he can do. The only thing he can fight is the vampire. That's it. And these infantry guys would definitely do better than Locust. So yeah, no. Compared to the meta, no. There's nothing he can do. You know what? I'll put him in one use just because he can sneak a base attack, I suppose. That's about the only thing he can do. So there is one thing he could do. That's it, though. Vulture, you're not sneaking around with that fat fucking thing. Like, especially since three of these guys are air, and the rest of them are like really quick. Yeah, Vulture ain't sneaking by shit. Um, Cobra, I feel like that has to go into A. I feel like that has to go in A until we can figure out what's the best in A to counter these fucks. I think that's gonna have to be an A. Suicide Grunts, I against a Scorpion and shit. Well, could it? I don't even think Suicide Grunts could even catch up to a Scorpion, could it? I don't even think it could. I don't think they could catch up to it. They probably just be able to get out of the fucking way, way before the Scorpion has a chance. Like way before they have a chance to blow up on the Scorpion. I feel like that's just. I feel like it always has to go into maybe one use. Like that's really it. Scarab, I'm glad to put in A, just to see if I could maybe pick the best of the best here. Elite with the Elite Squadron, probably a tier below the Brute Squadron. Situational. The most that they could do is help fight the air, but that's about it. Chopper, can't do anything against any air unit. Wolverine can kill it. ODST can kill it. Warthog can kill it. Scorpions can kill them. Hunters can absolutely just... Yeah, they're hopeless. I won't even say they have one use. I feel like... I mean... They're worth 2 pop. They cost more than the fucking Warthog for some reason. And it take a lot of upgrades to even make it... Their upgrades cost quite a bit to even make them decently good. I don't even think they're decently good even when they're fully upgraded, to be honest, though. I feel like it just stays there. He's just... I can't really think of much of a use. I mean, maybe scouting, but there's better options for that. Like, the Ghost is a better option for that. I feel like I might switch them around. I feel like I'll put the Ghost up here. Maybe has one use. Only specifically for scouting. That's it. That is actually it. The Chopper could technically go up there too. I guess I could do that. It might be able to kill a Warthog if it's low or something. I really don't know. It might be able to do something. But since the Brutes don't have... Since Brute Chieftain doesn't have anything else to scout with, since the Banshee is against him, yeah, I guess that's what he's got to work with. And Cyclops, I'd say I'll just put him in 8 tier for now. Until we can figure out what's the best here. So, because regular A is really just support. Like, this is really just support tier, I would say. To support whatever goes up here in A+ meta counter. So, the best thing that we have to fight, like, Hunters and ODSTs, for the UNSC, the best thing they could use against that is definitely the Grizzly. No doubt in my mind. Yeah, that's like really the best that they got. It could also, Wolverines would not really bother with this thing. I mean, even regular Scorpions just destroy these Wolverines like no problem. Because the Wolverine quite literally can't do any damage to them. Not really, unless they volley, but it would take a lot of volley to take that Grizzly. Even more than a Scorpion. So, Grizzlies don't have anything to worry about from them or vampires. Grizzlies alone could kill the Vamps, the Wolverines, ODSTs, Warthogs, Hunters. but they get diffed by the Hawks, the Banshees, and the Scorpions. Unless Spartans got in them, but this is a tier without them, so yeah, that's basically the best thing we got though for countering the infantry and the light vehicles. So to counter the air, the best, I mean, really, there's only one choice for the UNSC without the meta option. They can only use Marines. Marines aren't too bad against air, considering you have so many of them. Having Grizzlies be escorted by Marines might not be too bad, since that's a lot of health kind of walking together, I guess. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna work too well. I don't know. I don't know, man. This is looking rough. This is even worse than I thought it'd be. Oh my god. Oh god. Um. Okay. So the brutes are probably the. I mean, the brutes are definitely the best thing the chieftain has to fight air. I really got nothing else to say. Like, that's just really the best he's gonna have to throw at the air, and the light vehicles, I guess. That's not too bad for that either. The best units to counter the Scorpion, because the Scorpion is the main issue here. I would say the Cobra would have to be it. Like, the Cobra has to be in the field to help out to kill these damn Scorpions, because they're gonna be the main issue. I feel like Gremlin has to go up there. Well, I don't know. I feel like as a support unit, it might just stay down here. I'll move the engineer up since he's support. He's definitely gonna be needed, especially since God, dude, the best the best anti-air we have for the brute chieftain is a brute. Oh god. This is so rough, dude. I think this actually has to go up just because the Prophet and Arbiter need to be able to fight air too. And this is honestly the best thing they have as well. Is the Grunt Squad. So we're down to like 3 infantry guys fighting air. And then we have the regular brute guy to, I guess. I feel like they just kind of, you know what? They might actually have to go down. I feel like these guys just like kind of do what these guys do, but way better in every aspect. Because like even against like the light vehicles, these guys do better against them. The only thing that these guys would do better against is the infantry, but like the Jackal is better at that. Yeah, I might even move them. No, I'll move them down here because they can help. Like building both of these guys would be okay to fight like Warthogs and Wolverines because I mean they do have more health. You know, they offer more health on the field, but it's I don't know. I don't really think getting a little bit more health is gonna be better to go for more damage. I don't know. Especially since they can't. I don't know if these guns can stun. They might be able to, but I don't think so. Like these guys can actually stun when they hit a vehicle. So I don't know. So yeah, these two are supporting. These guys would be like supporting these guys up here, really. Let's see. So the best thing that the UNSC have to offer against air is the Marines. The best thing to have to fight infantry is the Grizzly here. And then the best thing they have to fight vehicles like the Scorpion is the Cobra. For the Covenant side of things, they've only got one thing up here to fight this. Because this is Brute Chieftain's guy fighting all the air in light vehicles. And then this is their, Arbiters and Prophets guy that they use to fight all these air units as well. So the Covenant don't know how to. The Covenant don't have a way of fighting vehicles or Uh, they don't have a way to fight vehicles or infantry technically. I mean, they do. These guys do fight infantry, but not well, especially when you're comparing that to a fucking ODST. Uh, yeah, Jackal. I think Jackal actually has to go up just because of that. I don't know. I think maybe down here. I don't know. Man, this is rough. This is oh, buddy. The meta counter is not doing as well as I'd hoped. Like, I don't. This is really bad. This is really bad. Like, realistically, like, the only thing that they would have to do, like, if you're trying to actually use this, the meta counter, like, if you're actually trying to use this in a match, realistically, the only thing they need to build is air. I think the Marines and shit like that would be okay, but, like, I don't know, man. The problem is, it's like, I have no doubt that the Marines would perform pretty well, especially with tanks like Grizzlies. But, oh, I just now realized. Because of Grizzlies, the UNSC don't actually have a way to fight regular infantry. Like Cutter and Anders, I mean. Because Cutter and Anders needs to have a way to fight infantry, so I guess the flamethrower goes at situational. Yeah, I guess I had to go at situational, maybe even up here. I don't know. Ooh, this is so rough. This is so bad. God. I mean, the fight ODSTs. If they're not using the meta, Cap Cutter and Anders would have to use flamethrowers. They'd have to be the meta. They would have to be. They would have to be used to fight someone like Cutter. If your Cutter's not using ODSTs and they want to try to use something else, they would have to use fucking Marines and Flamers. God. Oh God. I think the Jackals are only more situational. Well, shit, they probably go up too. Jackals are about to go up too because they Covenant need a way to fight infantry. The ODSTs specifically. Well, I haven't considered the Wraith. I think the Wraith might actually be better at killing infantry than the Jackal. Like, obviously not as quickly, but like more efficiently. Because a Wraith is pretty tanky. It's gonna tank quite a bit of damage before it dies over the Jackal, and the Wraith could still make quick work of like ODSCs and shit. So maybe I feel like Wraiths could really, because Wraiths also have pretty far range. As long as they don't get surrounded by ODSCs, they should be fine. Like realistically, because they do shoot pretty far away. That's really why I think the Covenant would be a little bit better off with the Wraith as killing infantry over the Jackal. I think the Jackal might go down back to situational, really. No, support tier, I guess. If they really need a little bit more help, maybe they could get some Jackals in there with some Wraiths. I don't know. This is rough though, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is terrible. Alright. So Engineer definitely goes there. So the Covenant have the best. So for Brute Chieftain's case, anyway, they have the best way to fight air with this. And then for the rest of them, Arbiter and Prophet have their way of fighting air, which is this. But all three Covenant leaders don't have a way to fight vehicles. I guess really, it would have to be a Scarab. The Scarab would have been the only thing they can use to fight vehicles, like heavy vehicles. It had to be the only thing, which I guess is not too bad since it's backed up by. It would be backed up by like the engineer and Cyclops in like a 3v3 situation. Because I think the Cyclops and engineer would have to say to sit in the same tier as dude. We're gonna need some help. We need a massive healing dumps in here. We need massive healing dumps as the meta counter tier is really just either very tanky units or fucking units that can't move like Cobras. And oh god. And the Covenant infantry is really slow too. So like dude, this is oh man. Does anyone so can any of these guys go up at all? You know what? Fuck it. I'll put the Suicide Grunts in extremely situational. I think they might be able to do something. I don't know what. Like, I think you could maybe do some clutch with like spawning them in on top of your leader and having them blow up on something. I don't really know how. Like on Arbiter, you could easily have them just teleport on Arbiter because Arbiter's invisible as well, so it'd be kind of unexpected to see a Suicide Grunt come out of nowhere and just fucking, you know, blow something up of yours, I guess. You might be able to get a couple sneak attacks off. I don't really know. It just depends on what you do, I suppose. Honor Guard. I feel like it stays in the same tier when fighting the meta. Same as the Hornet. It's just too much. Like, half the meta literally counters the Hornet. Over half the meta counters the Hornet. Same difference as the Locust. And Ghost and Chopper, pretty much the same. Vulture's ass. So, okay. So this is really like the best we could fucking do. Oh my god. It's rough. So let's talk about the... So from left to right, which is the best unit? Like left to right for both Covenant and Unity, which is the best unit to fight the meta from left to right? So left is the best and right's the worst. I guess Grizzly would definitely be like, I would say, cause no, wait. Probably Cobra. I think Cobra is probably the #1 pick you definitely need to fight the Scorpions, to fight the Wolverines, to fight the Warthogs. Not that Grizzlies don't have problems with Warthogs, but still, you know. I think Cobra is definitely like could be the most needed because, you know, we know Scorpions beat Grizzlies, especially when they don't have Spartans in them. So that's what you got to use there. And then I think the best, surely the Scarab would be probably better than the rest of them. Scarab would be the best. If not, maybe even an army of brutes. If you had an army of brutes, I feel like air wouldn't be too big of an issue. And light vehicles wouldn't be an issue either if you had an army of brutes. But good luck getting an army of brutes. It'd be pretty difficult. But you might be able to do it. I don't know. And then Scarab would probably be the 4th best. Let's see, what's the best here? Like, what goes after that? I guess... I feel like the Wraith would probably be the next best out of these 3. And then, yeah, Flamethrower would definitely be like the worst, I'd say. No. But compared to the meta, it'd be like this. But Flamethrower, Marines, and then these guys, because, like, ODSCs are an issue. Flamethrowers are at least faster than regular infantry, if you didn't know that. They actually have a bonus passive of movement speed. They're really fast, especially with Adrenaline Shot. So what's the biggest problem in that meta tier? Fighting the meta counter. Oh, we also gotta figure out what's the best tier first, though. So definitely the best here is like I would say the engineer for healing the scarab and shit. And then the best for the UNSC would definitely be the gremlin. And then Jackal, then Cyclops probably be the would Jackal be more value than I feel like in this probably not, just because you need a few Cyclops to heal those fucking Grizzlies, because Grizzlies have so much health. Um, yeah, and they have more. They're Covenant deal more than one answer to fucking infantry, but I don't know. So that's pretty much the best you could get from the counter picks, and then see what's the biggest issue from left to right. Biggest issue. I I feel like the biggest issue is honestly Banshee. I think the biggest issue from the meta is Banshee because most of these guys are very slow. Like the few units we have to fight air are all infantry and they're butt ass slow versus the fastest unit in the game that can devastate everything in its path. I mean, I think Banshees are definitely like the number one biggest issue. Um, Next would probably be the Hawks as well. I mean, they are significantly slower than, the infantry, but I don't know. Like, I've never seen just infantry fight air. Like, I have, but, like, not to this extent where you just don't build Wolverines at all. Or Vamps. Like, I don't know how that would work. Because I feel like they could just easily run around everything in this tier and just destroy your base anyway. I feel like that would happen, especially if it's on like something like Frozen Valley or a bigger 3v3 map. I feel like that'd be a huge issue from the Banshee and Hawk. I feel like they'd be such a nightmare to deal with without any realistic anti-air issues or without any realistic anti-air guys on your team. It's just, dude, it's such a hell. It's so hell to try to counter that. I mean, I don't know how you would. Um, I think the third biggest problem, uh, I I think the third biggest problem, not ODSTs. I feel like ODSTs we got. I feel like infantry is probably the least problems we have because Grizzlies, Flamers, Sniper Jackals. I feel like we got it kind of made against infantry. I feel like the air is the biggest problem, but the vampire. I mean, we don't have anything in our department for the counter. Like we don't have anything in our air department for or God, I can't speak. Nothing in our counter department apart from the engineer can fly. Like the engineer is the only thing that can fly. So the vampires would only be attacking engineers, which I guess would be a problem, but I feel like someone wouldn't invest a whole lot of vamps. Like realistically, they wouldn't invest everything they had into vampires at that point with a build order like this. Like if everyone's just building these two boxes here, I don't know. I don't think people would fully commit to the vampire because the only thing we have is the engineer. I don't know. So I feel like the vampire would be like over here. I feel like that's some of our least problems. Wolverine is also pretty minor issue, I'd say. Warthog is definitely less of an issue than the Scorpion. I think what would be the bigger issue between ODSTs and Hunters? Honestly, both of them are really not that big of an issue. I feel like, if anything, it probably would be the Hunters, only because of Cobras. Because Cobras are like our one line of defense versus Scorpions, and Hunters are very good against Cobras. They can take them down in like a few seconds. Uh, So yeah, and then it leaves the third biggest issue being the Scorpion. So, to answer the question, could the meta counter actually fight the meta? To be honest, fuck no. I mean, it wouldn't be bad. Like, the meta counter wouldn't be that bad. Honestly, I feel like the meta counter could work on smaller maps. Like, specifically 2v2 map. I think if you built only these units in a 2v2 situation, it actually wouldn't be too bad. I feel like if you had a, I feel like you would have to have one guy that is Forge and another guy that's like Chieftain, and then Forge just builds his Grizzlies and the other person builds Brutes. And I feel like most of the meta would be not too big of an issue for you then. Uh, but the main issue is just the Banshee and Hawk. You just don't really have any defenses against that. Um, yeah, that would be your biggest problem. Uh, it's rough. But we actually got it kind of made to fight infantry. Infantry is like hardly an issue for any leader in this list. Like, we kind of have a good answer for everything for infantry situations. Vehicle situations isn't even that bad, honestly. But when it comes to, I feel like the Covenant situation with vehicles would be kinda a bitch, especially for Prophet and Arbiter. I feel like Prophet and Arbiter would just be like almost unplayable like this, considering the only thing you can really build against vehicles is like wraiths and scarabs. Like, that's it. And like grunt squads with like grenades. That's like the only thing you can really do. That is rough. That is really rough. But like the whole, like everything down here, there's just no use for it. Like, absolutely none. I feel like the elephant could go up here, but like, what are you training out of it? That's the problem. Because you can't train your ODSTs out of it because the ODSTs is against you. Uh, I don't know. If you're trying to avoid building the meta, like, this would be an issue. It's mainly the air. That's honestly the issue. Air is really the issue here. Because everything in air is just part of the meta. Everything. Apart from the shittiest stuff. And even the anti-air guys being Wolverine, because even Warthog I would consider good against air, and even that's part of the meta. So yeah, it's pretty rough around here. I feel like if you're trying to follow this, Arbiter and Prophet could be completely unplayable. Because, like I said, the Brute Chieftain wouldn't be too bad, because you'd have the Brute Chieftain, of course, and the Brutes. But, man, the fact that your best anti-air is a grunt squad, and your best vehicle killer is a fucking scarab, and that's it. That is so, that is so rough. Like, I knew this would be really hard to, like, I knew this would be very hard to actually make a list to try to counter and fight against the meta, but dude, this is even more rough than I imagined. Like, this is bad. This is real bad. A 3v3 would be unplayable with this. Like, it would be unplayable. Because all they have to do is build mass air and you're fucked. Absolutely fucked. It wouldn't even really matter if they built nothing but Hornets. I feel like nothing but Hornets would kill you. Well, okay, I shouldn't go that far, but because Hornets are so ass, but yeah, I don't know, brother. This is bad, buddy. This is bad. Yeah, Prophet and Arbiter really got done dirty with this list, because, like, there is nothing they could do against the meta when you're trying to specifically counter it like this without having to build the meta units themselves. Like, they really couldn't do much. They really don't have any options. Um, yeah, this is bad. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Like, I feel like there's a lot of units in D tier, but like, I really don't see any use of any of them. Maybe the Honor Guard would be like more situational tier because he does have a decent amount of health and he can go on Viz. So there is. I feel like he could maybe go in the C tier, but like, what's the difference though? Because he's still doing pretty much nothing down there. Like everything in B tier below is like, it is labeled as situational, but like realistically, they're not doing a whole lot. Like, they're not doing a lot down there. To the meta, like, this just, oh man, it's not looking good. That's for sure. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. I think that's just how it is. But I mean, like I said, we did get infantry pretty well. And vehicles aren't half bad as long as you're not Prophet and Arbiter. But, yeah, air, buddy. Air is rough. I do firmly believe a 2v2 would actually be possible with this, though. I feel like if you had an army of brutes, like maybe like 20 brutes with like 10 engineers, a scarab, and then have the other guy build cobras, grizzlies, or maybe even build Anders. Maybe even get Anders in there, get some cobras, get some gremlins, get some flamers. I think it wouldn't be too bad. Like, of course, like, it's not gonna do as well as the meta, obviously, but like, it wouldn't be like impossible to win in a 2v2 situation with these units. I feel, if you're only building these units, I feel like you got a good chance to win. I feel it. But 3v3, no, because the moment that air's on the field, you're done. You might as well just get deleted. Yeah. I do think though in this situation, Brute Chieftain is needed because the brutes are really the best thing you have against air. Brute Chieftain is definitely needed here. You definitely want someone to play UNSC, and you definitely want someone to play Covenant. In a 1v1 setting, technically anything can work, but if you're not using any of this, I feel like a 1v1 setting is like almost impossible. A 1v1 setting, you would have to like either rush them with wraiths or just something. You have to do something fast. 3v3, like I do think 2v2 is definitely your best chance to win with that. That's for sure what I believe. I think 2v2 would be your best chance. Yeah. I hope this was enjoyable. I don't know if it made sense to you guys. Probably wondering, why the fuck are you even bothering with this? I just thought it'd be kind of fun, honestly. Like, I want to see how hopeless it'd be to fight the meta, and it's pretty rough. It is really rough. I think the meta, honestly, just completely stomps every unit in Halo Wars. The meta is just too strong, man. It's too damn strong. We don't got much of an answer for half the meta, which is basically air. We don't have much of an answer. That's for sure. Maybe maybe Marines do a little bit better than I think, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like anyone builds them specifically to counter air. I don't know, brother. I don't know. It ain't looking good, Bubba. It ain't looking good one damn bit. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.